And so, as generators are more and more waking up to our natural potential as creators and builders, now that we're all
Mm-hmm.
starting to feel this unlimited potential within us and know that we have the capacity to build whatever we want, the projector's guidance is becoming more and more important to help guide the energy of generators. Human design reveals who you are energetically and who you came here to be. I'm Dana, human design specialist.
And I'm Haley, the human design newbie. Listen in as we explore how leaning into your authentic self is your ultimate path to success. Welcome to the Human Design High podcast. Let's get into it.
Hi, Mama.
Oh, hey there, Haley. How are you doing?
Switching it up.
Shut up. Wow, you just opened the episode.
I know. Never done that.
I know. And if everybody could see how red you are right now, even though I'm the only one that
just
can
us.
see you.
I know.
It's adorable.
So bad.
No, we were just talking before we hit record about Haley's reluctance to listen to any of the episodes, which I am forced to. Trust me, I don't sit around in my car and listen to myself talk, but because that would be weird.
Yeah.
But I do have to, since I'm doing all the production and editing. Yes, it's my fault if there's something that you guys don't like in the way this podcast sounds. It's my fault because I am a one-woman show here of editing and producing. So I have gotten used to hearing myself.
Yeah.
I can say I don't like, because Haley said she doesn't listen to the episodes because we were talking about our when we opened the episodes. We always just don't really know how to open.
Yeah.
And anyway, so I was saying that I have gotten used to how I sound, but what I don't like is the fillers I have in my language. A lot of ums and you knows.
But I don't even notice half the time when you use them.
Well, I think in normal conversation, if you're just listening to content, a lot of people don't, but they will now. But when you're listening to yourself and you're editing for the sake of editing, you know, taking out spaces or maybe things that don't need to be there, it definitely becomes glaring. But I have been trying to pay attention more when I'm listening to other people's podcasts, especially ones I really enjoy, and I realize they do it just as much as I do. I'm not hypercritical of them. So if that's something that anyone's focused on, maybe I'm not for you.
Yeah.
But anyways, I don't know where to go from here.
And now we're here.
Like I painted myself into a corner. How do I segue out of that?
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know the topic.
That's right. Well, the topic will center around both of us today, more you yourself as a projector, because one of the little ideas that popped in my head one day is talking about the projector generator relationship, let's say, or how they're meant to come together, work together, how they interact with each other. So that's us.
Yeah.
Here we are. And so I think a lot of this, though, really this conversation is going to be about projectors. Because of the way that projectors are energetically designed. Now, throughout the episodes, we have, of course, been building upon our knowledge here of the different types and strategies. And so what comes to top of mind for you for a generator type? Like if you had to explain a generator type to someone that was interested in what you wanted to hear, they invited you to tell them about human design and what's a generator? What do you know about generators? Because my friend's one. What does that mean?
So a generator like if you think of the word generator, it's like always it's powering, it's going, it's constant. It's always got that hum going. So like as an energy type, it's the same kind of thing. It's just they have this constant source of power the energy that they're working off of, and they really want that energy to be used and to get out. And when it can't, they get frustrated.
And so, okay, so how do they know how to use the energy? How do they know what's the right way to use the energy?
So they have a fun superpower, the sacral response. And it's this kind of unconscious, innate answer for you where it's a yes or a no. And it's sometimes generators that don't know, they just kind of think it's their gut, that they like have a gut reaction, but it's this sacral response leading them.
That was pretty good.
Thank you. And see, I'm listening.
Yeah, well, that's good. And what is the response leading them to?
So it's leading them to it's leading them onto the path that will be ultimately where they're happy and most kind of just in tune and just like high resonance.
That's good. Okay, so generators have a lot of energy. Okay, so I mean, I feel like I'm leading the witness here. Well, no, we'll build upon that. So yes, the generators do have all that energy. They work in response for what's right for them because they can output a lot. They do have a lot of energy, but it's meant to guide them towards things that are good for them. And it needs to be used. And so historically historically generators are the ones that have really built the world around us because do you remember what percentage of the population is total sacral energy types? Between generators, manifesting generators.
Like 70 or something?
Yeah, 70, between 70, 75, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say between 70 and 80.
Very good, very good. And as we talk today, I'm just going to be saying generators because it's a mouthful to keep saying and manifesting generators.
Gotcha.
But we're talking about the sacral type of the generator because the generator type obviously encompasses generators and manifesting generators because they are the two types that are sacrally defined. So that's what we're talking about. Generator types. And so they have built the world and they continue to build the world, and they will be building the world, but for a long time they've been not aware, none of us have been aware of this stuff, of their capacity energetically, and the fact that they shouldn't just be using their energy to do whatever, like we talked about last week. They're here to do what's right for them, and that's the best use for it. And so that's why we have the world we have, is because there's a lot of unhappy generators out there doing work they're not supposed to do. They need guidance, right? The sacral informs them, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, but also they need guidance at times when they are feeling that they can't figure it out for themselves, let's say, or they're just need a little insight. Sometimes, yes, the sacral can help guide them, but especially if they're not fully in touch with their sacral, or possibly maybe their emotional generator, they take more time, they're still needing that extra guidance. This is where projectors come in for them, for other types too, but there's a special relationship here between the two types. So projectors being about,
what was 20%. It? I was going to say 20.
About 20% of the population are what they consider what the human design system calls a non-energy type. And that's a little misleading because they can have motors, such as yourself. You have a motor connection, but what they don't have is a motor connection to the throat, right? Or a sacral definition.
Right.
So in that sense, what that means is that they can't generate energy on their own, generate, because that's what they go, or manifest on their own because they don't have that motor to the throat. But you can have throat definition. You just won't be defined. You'll be defined either through your spleen or your G center throat. I mean, Ajna.
Oh.
You can't have
I
your
was like,
throat defined through the throat. That's not happening. But so historically, projectors really haven't had the opportunity to fulfill their potential because really the other energy types have had more power, more sway, especially the manifestor types throughout millennia have had a little bit more because they're the ones that can seize and grab and don't need other people to initiate and get things going. They can definitely take and then make everybody else do what they wanted to do in that old school way of doing it. And the generators would be like, okay, it's my lot here.
If you say so.
And so projectors up until this point they existed on the planet. They just hadn't really been recognized for their potential. And according to raw and traditional human design, the projectors really are designed to be at the top of the hierarchy, if you believe in hierarchies. Like to think we're moving more towards that synarchy where there isn't a top or a bottom, but we can look at it that way because they guide, they manage. They're supposed to have that vantage point of forming others, telling others, helping others, guiding others, and particularly here to guide and over generators, like we just said, because there's mostly generators out there. And so as generators are more and more waking up to our natural potential as creators and builders, now that we're all starting to feel this unlimited potential within us and know that we have the capacity to build whatever we want, and that we're designed to actually be more prosperous, more abundant, more successful, more fulfilled, all these things, if we're following things that we really are passionate about or what we want to do. As we start to wake up to that, the projector's guidance is becoming more and more important to help guide the energy of generators. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll see, and I've seen it in this space, human design space, that there is quite a lot of projectors who are drawn to this work and are leaders in this work of helping guide generators more. I don't want to say more, but very, very often in like coaching capacities, mentoringship, that kind of thing, because they really do have a interesting, unique perspective, and they are able to really, see into the others. They have a capacity for, recognizing the capabilities of the different types mainly. And that this is their primary gift, is recognizing others and what potential they have. Do you remember how they do that?
They have a penetrating aura.
Where does it penetrate into?
I don't know if we've ever discussed that part.
I'm sure we have.
I guess
penetrating aura. Go ahead.
Into their aura, but then I don't know further.
The heart, the G center.
The G center.
Yes, the heart. You can call it the G. I mean, we call the G center. Excuse me. I know that there's confusion around heart because traditional human design calls the will center the heart center. I don't call it the heart center. Obviously, I call it the will center. I think it's confusing, or the ego center. Some call it that. But anyways, yes. So their aura, it is more focused, penetrating into the other. Really, is the ability to tap into the G center of everybody around them, which is the center of
self.
Yes, and direction. Yes. And so they can really see the direction that others need to take, right? The path
that makes sense.
To go. Yeah. So with them being non-energy types, as we just said, they have to rely on others around them to access that energy. So one thing that can be kind of frustrating to a projector is the fact that, they can see all this stuff, they can know what needs to be done and, how to do this, but they can't actually do it themselves. They don't have the quote unquote energy for it because they're not energy types. They rely on the others around them to have the energy to build and to create the things around them. Now, it doesn't mean they're not creative people or anything like that. It's just they are designed to do it in a different way.
Right.
Better use of their energy. So because of this, and I think most everyone agrees, and I think you're beginning to see it yourself. Not most everyone would agree. What a dumb thing to say.
Be a little extra critical.
I know. They need to have the right people. Projectors need to have the right people in their lives. Because what is the strategy of the projector again?
The strategy is to wait for the invitation or the recognition.
Yes, which really is the recognition should come first, then the invitation is usually extended. And so that recognition is the projectors are going to attract attention because they are designed to attract attention. But it doesn't mean they are always attracting the right attention from the right people. Remember, there's that word project in projectors. And I know we've talked about projecting here a lot. What would that mean to you in this context about projecting?
I don't know what you mean.
Okay. I'm just trying to include you.
I know, but I'm not sure how to answer that because I'm not entirely sure what the question is that you're asking.
Fair enough. That is true.
I mean, because I know how to define project, but I don't know the context.
Projectors. Well, projecting in the sense that a lot of times, they generally, in this sense, people may recognize them. They may attract attention. They need to be recognized by the right people that recognize their gifts and their talents. Okay. So they can attract attention. There can be people, think of somebody like Barack Obama is a projector. He definitely attracted attention, right? Just by being him.
Right.
He was able to be attractive, but there was only the right people that could then connect with him, that could help him bring his vision to life. There was plenty of people that he attracted attention to that had no interest in what he did and also did not want to hear what he had to say, right? And so he had to stay true in his value of who he is and what he saw and what he knew he was good at in order to then, it's like moths to the flame. The right people want to help come in and bring his vision to life, and they understand what it is he can do for them as well. And so that's the kind of attraction I'm talking about. It's like, because I know a lot of projectors think, especially when they first come to human design and they hear this information, they're quite bitter about it. They're like, no, that's not how it works. That's my energies never work that way. I don't attract attention. Does that resonate at all?
Yeah, I mean, because like when I hear attracting attention, it in my head is like someone that's like over the top, like big personality, all of this. But then when you say, no, it's just being you, like being your person is what is attracting the attention. Then it's like, okay, because when you first say it, I'm like, I don't attract attention. That's not me. And then, but then when you explain it, I'm like, well, yeah, people do like come to me. Yeah.
For the things that you're good at, they recognize, because you're definitely not someone who's trying to attract attention usually.
No. I'm usually trying to not.
At line 2 is like, no, I'll stay over here.
No, okay.
But like I said, when I first learned about you being a projector and how the energy works, I thought, well, yeah, I could see that, because just when you used to live with me and growing up, I saw that, yes, you did. When you attracted the right people to you, they valued you. That's why I think you had even though, let's just tell everybody, Hali was a homecoming queen. Even though homecoming week. You weren't someone who went out and actively sought that, right?
No, but you know who it was that did it for me? It was Mary Claire. She was the one that got Poppy to ask me.
Oh, that's sweet. Poppy was on the football team.
Yes, that was my homecoming date.
You helped him. You used to tutor him, didn't you?
I did. I tutored him in U.S. history. No, yeah, Government Econ, whatever. Yeah, U.S. history.
What doesn't matter. Hey,
yeah.
Poppy. So, anyways, but what I meant by that was that compared to the other girls on the homecoming court, who some of them were definitely ones that were seeking attention.
Mm-hmm.
That's generally what they did. Sorry. But you did not, and you weren't really like any of them up there.
Mm-mm.
But you ended up winning because of Poppy, but also because you just people, when they come into your aura, if they recognize you, they really appreciate you. I think that's why I think you have like people that were your friends that really valued you for who you were and what you offered, like Taylor and Mary Claire. Those are the people that recognized you and appreciated you for, you know, who you really were and what you brought to the relationship. And so they really saw you. And those are people that are still to this day in your life, I think, because of the fact that they appreciate and recognize you for who you are. And so it's important for projectors to understand not only the recognition piece of them being able to like fulfill their potential, but also that it's actually incredibly important to their overall health and well-being, because if they understand that every person in their life needs to be like really in their life, like you can't pick and choose everybody. You know, if you live in a or work environment or something, you can't choose everybody, but the people that you choose to really let into your life need to be people that truly see you, recognize you, and value you, because anything else is just literally, it's just not a good match, and it's not a correct use of your energy, and that's going to lead to burnout quicker in your lifetime if you are surrounding yourself with people who don't appreciate you, which I think could be apropos for anybody, but even more so for the non-sacral types, because there is limited resources in your energy there.
Right.
And so, okay. So we talked about the invitation, why that's important, but I also want to point out that this is just for the big main four areas in life. Because this is also where projectors get confused when they first come to the system, is that they have to wait for everything. They do not. I
had that same thought the first time you told me. I was like, I gotta wait for the invitation for everything? Like, how am I supposed to do anything?
Because, you know, like we said, all types have in some way to wait, and generators have to wait to respond. Projectors wait for the invitation. What differs there and the waiting is that the generators waiting is a lot shorter, because this is more of a day-to-day, in the moment, by response, what's coming up in front of them, and that helps lead them in the direction, like you said, with their sacral response. Whereas for projectors, the waiting for the invitations is really about, you know, who to love, who to be in relationship with, where to live, where to work, those kind of things. Those are the main things that require invitations, because they're going to require more energy from the projector.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So they need to know if that is a correct use of their energy, a correct invitation. And so a lot of projectors, before they come into this knowledge, have been accepting any and all invitations because they just want to be like recognized and seen. And I'm sure, as painful as it may be to recall, that you've had plenty of experiences where you weren't, maybe where you more initiated energy or tried to insert energy. I don't mean in a pushy way, but kind of feels pushy sometimes from a of where
been called bossy a few times.
Well, that is something that can happen. Definitely projectors, especially female projectors, you're a little bossy. But yes, so you can understand that it's meant the strategy, remember, is meant for us to meet less resistance. It's not meant to slow us down or to make it harder for us. It's meant to make it easier for us. And so there is a reason that you are here to wait for the invitation. It's for protection. It helps guide or guard the energy of the projector. And so that being said, let me ask you this. Can you have, now that you can look back in some perspective when we talk about this, because you've had enough time the last year or so to ingest all this information about being a projector, can you tell me that tell me if you can now recognize the difference between a correct or an incorrect invitation for you, where people have maybe asked you to do things or see you for what, so basically where the energy clicks for you and when it doesn't, as far as how it feels to be invited. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So my biggest example of that looking back is from high school. And it's from when we did the lip dub, because that wasn't my project. Like, I did not start that. I wasn't even in the class that it was being done in. I just had the same teacher. So I was around it. And
maybe everybody in this crowd is young enough to know what the hell you're talking about. What's a lip dub?
Okay. So they were like really popular for like, I don't know, probably a year. I don't know.
It was before TikTok even.
Yeah. But it was basically like, we had seen the North Myrtle Beach High School did one, and it's basically they did it like all the students in the school were in the hallways and they were filming it, and you had like the main singer who was lip singing to the music, and then you played it. So that's
lip syncing.
Lip singing. I said singing.
Isn't it lip syncing?
I don't know. I just picked one. I just went with it.
They're not the ones actually
lip
singing.
syncing. I don't know.
They are
sounds so similar.
Syncing the movement of their lips.
Anyways,
sorry.
So we wanted to do one, and we made it bigger. We did all 5 Myrtle Beach schools, but it wasn't my project that started it. It was actually Hunter's project. Hunter's the one who started it. But then I don't even know exactly how it happened, but next thing I knew, I was the one that was like leading it. I was like basically directing it. I was in charge, like, and it felt right because people actually were listening to me and like following my directions and things. But like I don't even remember the invitation necessarily. It was like I wasn't a part of it, and then next thing I knew, I was a part of it, and it was smooth.
It felt good to you personally. Yeah. And so can you think then of times where it maybe hasn't been a correct invitation for you? And I mean like, not that you trying to initiate something, but maybe let's think about this. Maybe how about some of the projects with what's your husband's name? Presley?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I mean, we've tried.
And if this isn't correct, you let me know. But I'm just trying to
those are
help people understand, like, being recognized for what you're good at, or something being brought to you that you could do, or someone sees that you might be good at, but it's not what they're seeing. They're not seeing the right thing.
Yeah. So I would say probably when me and Presley tried to have our podcast, he brought it up. It was what he wanted to do. And I went along with it because I was like, yeah, it'd be fun. And, I wanted to be supportive, but then I would be the one who ended up editing it, and I was good at it, but I didn't like doing it. So I was like, I didn't want to do it. And then we kind of fell apart on that because it just became a lot for both of us because it just wasn't right. But like, I was good at editing it, and it had its fun moments, but then it was like not fun, and I didn't want to do it.
It's not necessarily your strong suit, like where you would shine. So it took more energy from you than it could have possibly taken. And it, like I said, it wasn't so much, Haley, you're really good at editing. It's, Haley, I have all this other stuff going on.
Basically.
But we want to do something on the side. You do this part because it's on a computer.
Love them to death, but yes.
Well, I mean, yeah, no shade. It's just, it's also before y'all knew any of this stuff. And he's more, I think he's become more
He's much better.
aware of, mainly it's because you've become more aware of, and you're honoring and valuing yourself and your energetic makeup and needs and stuff. And that's important. So, yeah. So, because if you think about people recognizing you for what you're good at, these are really like investors. They're investing in you. They are like giving you the energy for what it is you're really good at so that you can then, take that and run with it, basically.
I like that.
Yeah, they're investing in you. So, day to day, though, it's very important for projectors to hear that they don't need to do all this waiting. Like I said, it's probably easier for you to recognize as a splenic projector because you have that feeling of when's the right time to act or to do. You have a little more help and guidance in your body than other projector types might not have. If they're emotional projectors, they've got the emotional wave that can help. But if they, having that splenic awareness is kind of similar to having sacral awareness, and that it is kind of moment to moment.
Right.
And so that can help. Other projectors need, sounding boards, people to listen to them, help make decisions and all that stuff. But that is all manageable day-to-day stuff. Remember, the invitation is for bigger things, really, that, like you said, people that are going to invest in your energy,
right,
or in your guidance. So that waiting to be noticed, what we just talked about, understanding that the more a projector stands in their own value and their own worth, the brighter they become. That's just, I don't know how any other way to say it. I can say it till I'm blue in the face. Sometimes projectors don't want to hear me. They think, no, I have to attract attention. And I say, you're going to attract attention by not trying to attract attention. And it's true.
Yeah.
Because if you are that attention, like a light shining, is meant to draw those right people to you. And so you've got to make your light bright for them to see them, for them to see you. Sorry. So I've been thinking about this example metaphor that I read once in a book. It's by Richard Rudd, one of his earlier human design books before he was doing Gene Keys. And when he was talking about projectors, and it's always stuck with me that it makes a lot of sense. And it helps describe the projector generator relationship.
Okay.
So let's dig into that here for a minute. So he says that, he's talking in the context of a lesser known circuitry in human design called the WA, W-A, I don't know much about it. I'm not going to address it.
Yeah.
See what else I can find. But it's basically talking about this energy here between generators and all the different, not generators, between all the different energy types. But let's just talk about generators, projectors. So if you imagine that the human body or humanity is like the human body. So the body's made up of lots of cells, right? That's all the cells make up the whole. And if we were to think about humanity in that way, there'd be 4 cells, right? 4 types of cells. So at the one extreme, he says there's a very small amount of what he calls rogue cells, which these are the ones that are independent and they're designed to operate outside the loop of everybody else. And it's really this manifestor cells. They're meant to just kind of do their own thing. They kind of stimulus, get things rolling, as we know. And they appear independent because they're kind of going and acting on their own, but really they serve the purpose of, they are related or dependent on the other types as well, the other cells as well. They just look that way. At the other extreme, so you have that one extreme of something going rogue, looking like it. Then you have at the other extreme, you have the early warning cells, which I can imagine you know what these are.
Reflector.
They have no programming of their own. They're not part of the program, but they are designed to take accurate readings of the cellular environment, let's say, that they move through. And you only find a few of these in the system, because they're just reflecting the overall health of the environment. And
Okay.
their role is to warn the overall intelligence of the body or humanity of any potential disruption, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So you've got that one acting on its own, then you got the one over here that just doesn't seem to be a part of it either. Of course, that no programming would be their, open centers.
Mm-hmm.
So in between, you have this mash of about 91% of the population,
Mm-hmm.
which is generators and projectors. And
Yep.
so we know there's more generators. So they're both designed in a way to lock into each other in certain ways. Okay. So generator cells are that buzzing, pure energy, bouncing around all through the body,
Mm-hmm.
building things, growing, doing things, right? Maintaining the whole body. And the projector cells look a little different. They'd be more unique. They don't have any propulsion of their own, let's say, because you could see, like, if you're looking at a microscope,
Mm-hmm.
you'd see, them kind of zinging and zagging all over. And then you just see this projector cell that might just be kind of hanging out in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe something bumps into it, it moves it, or right,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
propel on its
Right.
own. Is this appealing to your science brain?
Yes.
I know you love teaching me stuff in your biology classes, cells and divisions and metabolic processes and stuff. Yeah. So this lack of propulsion could leave the projector cell feeling rather unimportant and, kind of wondering what its purpose is, left out, right? But each projector cell does have a very specific purpose, and some have actually more than one purpose, but it can only be recognized, this purpose, when the other energy cells, the generator cells, connect with the projector in order to receive instructions from the projector, right? So it helps guide those other cells as to what they should be doing with their energy. Helps organize them a lot of times as well.
Yeah.
So since they have no propulsion on their own, it's powerless to initiate this connection, this process. So it has to allow the generator cells to come to them. So they just kind of hang out and be like, okay, I'm over here ready. Whenever you guys are ready, I'm right here. You'll see me when you know it's time. Which, I mean, I love this analogy so much because it's like helped this. I've had this thought about humanity before I ever read this, when I was doing all my or learning all my Course in Miracles stuff. That was the thought that I always had in my head, is that we are all individuals, like cells in the body. We all have a purpose. We don't necessarily always know what it is, but usually something occurs that kind of wakes us up and turns us on. That's what's happening to most of us right now to help in the functioning of the body. Like, I think it's fascinating in the human body that they still don't know how it happens, that
It
a
just
cell
does.
that it's suddenly, a cell will suddenly just be like a switch flips and it's like, oh, you're a liver cell now, and it goes to
like how
so
in when a fetus is growing, like how does it know, all right, you cells are all going to the liver and you cells are going to the bones, and how
and how does it even just, I don't know, form those things? It's incredible. I mean, every time, if you really think about how a human is formed, like physically, it's a miracle any of us are here that are born healthy. I mean, it really is a miracle every day. So I always had this analogy in my mind of us all being connected in that way. And I feel that we are all part of a larger organism that we just don't understand yet. And I know it was Ra that said humanity is still basically a fetus in the womb of its mother that doesn't understand what it is and what it's going to be. It's still forming, and that we will be born very soon, that we're about ready to be born, but we're not born yet, that we're still just percolating. So there may be people that just switched off their player right now, like, this is going too far. but that's just how I see it. I think it helps think it helps us, think of that whole we're connected thing.
Yeah.
And then in the course, I think it would say that, anytime that cells aren't working together and that cells decide to just kind of stop working together and cooperating and just doing their own thing is called what? You're shaking your head.
Cancer.
It's a cancer cell. That's right. So
Yeah.
we're designed to work together.
Yeah.
So that's why I love this analogy of thinking about the little
I like it.
projector there, just like waiting to be recognized. So then in human design, they talk about this basic genetic unit of 5, which you'll hear it talked about a lot about pentas. You might not hear it, but other people may have heard what a penta is, which means 5. And, a lot of times a nuclear family, it's like there's a penta of 5. And statistically, it's what this penta is 4 generator types to 1 projector type. That when there's a meeting or a docking of that many generators to 1 projector, that projector is help guiding the course of those group of generators. And then it'll even go a little bit further and say after that, there's another level of it's subset, all this other stuff, but I'm not that's getting into that WAS circuitry. But I think we can understand the small part of it right here, especially if you look at our family.
That's what I was just thinking. I was like, did I?
Well, yes, because there's if we're going to talk biology, there's you, your brother, me, and your dad. But we've also always seemed to have an extra generator hanging around.
I know.
It's either Hunter,
extra sibling,
or it was Lakeland, who's a generator, or when with your husband, he's a generator. You are kind of the guiding force when the groups of us are together. We generally are quite often, well, they look to you and me of what the plan is, but usually I'm looking to you about, hey, what would be the best use? What should we be doing? I do that a lot.
Yeah. Now looking on it. Yeah.
What?
I said, now looking on it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the beauty here of how things working out the way they should. And I've always felt that our family unit is uniquely qualified, I believe, to continue to work together in some fashion. It just hasn't happened yet. Like maybe it's because your dad and I are definitely more entrepreneur types than working for people types. And we're always, really believing more and enjoying life. And, your dad likes to work hard, but he's just conditioned to, and he's manifesting generator. But I believe we all have our unique talents that one day I think we're
and we've like, I mean, me and Ian, when we were younger, we were at each other's throats, but that's just growing up. But like, we're our whole family is very close, and we just like we all get each other.
Yeah, I think once we get around the idea of what we're doing here, I think we're designed to do more than just be a family. But that's just it's just my 2 cents. We're building an empire, a legacy. But anyway, so
succession.
Yeah. So basically, if we go. So many of those shows about families are not good.
No, they're not.
I was also, when I said Empire, I was thinking of the show Empire when I used to watch that show with
no, that was Boardwalk Empire.
No, the one that was oh gosh, the young man that was in the show got arrested a couple years ago for the fake hate crime against him. Said he was
yes.
Jesse, or no, not Jesse. What's his? Anyway, it doesn't matter. We don't need to go down that road. That Empire.
Yes, I forgot about that show.
Music mogul music mogul family. Yes.
I forgot about that show. Okay, yes.
Whatever. With Taraji. Love her. Can't remember her last name. Oh my God.
And Taraji P. Henson.
Yes. I so often have fragments of information in my head. It's very hard to bring them together. Okay. Yes, she's awesome. So anyways, everybody's
got it back.
Everybody's name. His name was Terrence Howard, I think. Everybody's names are coming in my head now. Okay. Faster than my mouth can talk. Okay, so going back to this analogy about the penta or whatever, what it
Yes.
really means is that if you are a projector, if you think about it, you are genetically coded to have other specific generators recognize you and approach you.
Mhm.
And that's just how it's designed to be. And I believe that. If you don't, that's okay. You don't have to. That's just what I believe. That's what I'm sharing.
Okay.
And so, like I said, generators need the help of projectors to help stay organized and kind of focused in a way. And but the irony here for the projector is, there's nothing they can really do. There's nothing for them to do until they are recognized by the specific people that are meant to help bring that energy to life in a way.
I was just thinking of actually how this podcast came to be, because we used our strategy on each other. Like, you brought it to me and gave me the invitation for it, and I sat with it for a bit, and then I came back to you and gave you something to respond to it. And then here we are.
Yeah, here we are. Yes, you did help direct it in the sense of how we were going to do it because, we just talked. We've been trying so long to think of some kind of podcast. We really did want to do something together. And so there was definitely, even though we obviously have the connection of family, but so we do recognize you. I mean, I guess not every projector has the beauty of the family in their life recognizing. I definitely can hear that right now. I know some people are like, no, my family does not see me. They do not recognize me for what I'm good at. And so we are blessed in that regard that we try to see that. But so let's talk about for a moment here, before we wrap it up, about the generators. Okay. So generators have this open and enveloping auras, right? They're the creators, like we were talking about. And as we said, projectors focus on the G center of where the monopole is, with projectors being able to really tap into the G center there of the generator, and they can tap into intuitively to what it is this particular generator is, the direction that they're meant to go or they want to go, right? They can kind of pick up, intuitively, as I said, inconsistencies that the generator may be exhibiting. If they say they want to go in one direction, but they're actually taking themselves in a different direction, whether by overriding their sacral or whatever, maybe acting too quickly or, not really waiting to see if it's correct, they can help the generator with asking questions or maybe pointing out things that a generator hadn't really thought of when it comes to this, but only if they've been invited and recognized by the generator, right? So what generators get out of the relationship here from the projector is being kind of energized by their leadership and guidance. So they might, have all this energy and they're trying to respond and doing this, but once which I have definitely seen this in people that I know, that are projectors that have helped me, help guide me and focus me more, keep me more on task of what it is I overall want to be doing, right? Because I'd be responding all day long. And sometimes I will move too quickly than I should because I'm emotional. And sometimes I respond and I don't wait. And when I have the projectors in my life, yourself and a couple friends of mine, that can say, well, or ask me questions about, well, why are you going this way? Or what are you doing with that? Or does it, help you with this or whatever? But also, they can help point out things to me sometimes that I hadn't considered about myself or what I've said. Because where I said to you before we started recording about how I hear when I'm editing the podcast, it can be a couple days later and I completely forget what I have said. And I know my one friend in particular points out to me all the time how I forget things that I've already done or I've said or accomplished. And so I can get in my head a lot and spin around, and they help focus me back in the right direction. If that makes sense. Yourself included.
Yes.
So There can be a little friction at times in this relationship because the generators are so active doing, they feel like they sometimes feel like they put more into the relationship because the projector's role is a lot subtler, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because your technical energy is limited to,
Right.
and so, and depending on your profile and whatever, projectors also tend to, well, they do need time to withdraw in order to keep themselves away from all the sacral energy so they're not short circuiting their own energy systems. And so there could be, without any understanding of energy, kind of a resentment on the part of the generator to be like, I do way more than you and I put way more in than you.
I have been there exactly. I think honestly though, for Presley, that has what learning the fact that we have this different energy stores has helped him the most in not being frustrated when I don't want to do something or I say I'm tired. And it's definitely because like before he knew really, before he got into it, he would be frustrated with me that I wasn't doing anything, or I know that he would feel like he was putting more into like any endeavor we were doing than I was.
But yet you've also managed to point out to him, which I think he is taken to, he is doing things more in his downtime to not feel the need to always be producing.
Oh yeah.
Right?
He's doing things for fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, and that was one point I was going to say, is that to, for the generators there to not take it personally when they feel that the projector is withdrawing from them. It's not like they don't like them and they don't want to do things with them. It's just there is this kind of need to kind of detach a little bit and kind of restore their own energy that usually involves kind of being alone. And
Yeah.
and that being said, also entering into relationships of any kind, it really is, projectors do need to be invited into the relationship as well. They said that the only time that a projector really could be the one, or yeah, projector would be the one to kind of have to invite or initiate, would be like a projector and another projector. I mean, it's not like on Tinder they have they should have the human design types on there. It's like you have your picture and then it's like, no, but you shouldn't date based on energy type. Because remember, we're here to learn. We're not here to know all the answers. Okay. So if you are a generator, you have projectors in your life, try to remember to treat them, allow them to rest when they need to rest, treat them with kindness, understand and recognize, take a step back and realize that, you may not be seeing things they're doing, but evaluate the value they have actually contributed to your life as through their guidance, or through their assistance in that way. Consider it is what they've either said to you or helped you with that has really helped change you in some way. That's their contribution, and it's an important one. We all need that. Likewise, if you are a projector and you see the generator in your life getting frustrated with you, don't take it personally. Remember their theme there of that frustration. They're going to feel a lot of frustration. Well, never mind. I already said that, because that's the part about taking the time to, let them know that it's not personal. It's just you. So overall, to wrap this thing up, the most important thing to remember is that through relationships with generators, projectors are going to feel energized, more energized, and the generators then also tend to feel more seen, which sounds counterintuitive to what we were saying a lot, but I think that I can say for sure that that is true, because I have had projectors point out to me, because I'm so focused on myself. Generators are more self-focused, right? Because we're meant to learn through our own experiences. We are designed to be self-focused. We are the only type that is designed to be self-focused. But that also means it's through our own lens that we're seeing everything, right? And so it's highly valuable to have projectors in your life to give you that outside perspective of what they see and what they feel by connecting to you through the G center, of really being able to truly understand your value and help guide you in the direction that you want to go. That's what I mean by seeing. So
Yeah. That makes sense.
So anything else you want to add about the relationship dynamic between a projector and a generator that I haven't tapped on, or things you've noticed?
Well, I mean, it kind of ties. I mean, we've like touched on several things, but just the fact that like in a projector generator relationship, as a projector, I can feel like I'm lazy sometimes. Like I feel like I'm being seen as lazy, but it is just that different energy type and just using it differently. But it is just it makes it feel like less guilty, or what, I don't know. It's like when I understand it, it doesn't feel as bad.
Well, I think, yes, what you're saying, what I'm hearing is that, or maybe it's just what I want to hear, but you
probably what I'm
having an
saying.
understanding of yourself has helped you, like we said, helped you stand more firmly in that, even if you don't, quote unquote, know always what your value is. Like, I'm thinking in the context of, because I know a lot of people think in the context of your output and what it is and what you contribute, because you're always saying, I don't see myself and I don't know what I'm doing and I don't know which direction I'm supposed to go, a lot of that kind of stuff. But it's not necessarily tied to your job or anything like that. It is really, if you can recognize in yourself the value you hold in your relationship with generators, as far as knowing that your contribution is not necessarily physical output. It is energetically guiding and managing and making sure that you're going in the right direction and using your talents and your whatever in the best way possible. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's kind of what I was going for.
Yeah, I remember when I first learning about a lot of this stuff, I'd hear say, even though you're just laying on the couch, you're doing a lot. Because generators are projectors are holding the energetic template of what's possible as we move forward, which is managing and guiding your energy to its best use so that you're not fucking wasting your time. You're not spinning your wheels, that you're not.
You want to do things you want to do.
Yeah, not going in the direction that doesn't, align with who you are and what you love and, what you want to be doing, that you can help people do that. So anyways, all right.
Yeah.
I, for one, am grateful for the projectors in my life, and you especially, my co-host and projector. So if we've wrapped up that topic, you know what that means.
It's time for the incarnation cross of the week.
Yes, it is. Okay, so this week's incarnation cross is the left angle cross of the Alpha 2, as in number 2, because there will be sometimes different variations of them because there's different quarters.
I think we've already done one. Don't know. I think we've already done a multiple. No, we haven't? I thought we did.
Of the Alpha?
No, not of the Alpha specifically. I'm just saying of a different one.
Oh, from a different second quarter.
I think circles? Circles?
Cycles? Cycles?
Cycles?
I don't think there's a cross of circles. Anyways, so the left angle cross of the Alpha 2 consists of the gates 41 and 31 in the conscious. Okay. So 41 sun, 31 earth conscious, and then 44 unconscious sun, 24 unconscious earth.
Okay, lots of fours.
Yeah, right? Okay, so here we go. Here's a little synopsis. Okay, so if you have this cross, your purpose is to guide and inspire others to overcome their past and reach their full potential. You help them heal and develop healthy values, empowering their true selves and promoting personal and collective independence. You recognize the importance of imagination in creating new possibilities and remind people of their innate creative power. Your mission involves helping them let go of limiting beliefs and patterns and enabling them to take charge of their lives and set their own direction. You're here to embrace unexpected opportunities, emerging as a leader who engages others emotionally and inspires them to desire your guidance and wisdom. Guidance and vision. So, embrace your role as a catalyst for growth and empowerment, leading the way for transformation and greatness in yourself and others.
I'd say the name fits.
Yeah, the alpha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be fitting for a projector too.
Yeah.
We just talked about, it's kind of a lot of that projector guidance there, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you don't have to be a projector to have this cross.
Nope.
You just have to, you know.
Yeah. I like hearing all of them, the ones we've done, like just that's the ones we've done so far, because they make you feel good. Like they give you hope.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm hoping to do, pulling from different sources and putting them together to try and make it more of a, something to, you don't even have to aspire to it, because it's like, yes, it does give you something mentally to cleave onto, to understand what it is really that your energy signature does, whether or not you're aware of it.
Yeah.
Yes, we can all be in lower expressions of these energies, but for the most part, this is the energy of the highest expression whenever you're brought in. So a lot of times you'll find that if we all knew the incarnation cross of everybody around us, we would find that the people that pass through our lives at different times or whatever, the energy of that cross usually corresponds to things that occurred in your life when these people are around. So
it's fun.
It's fun. So we may not know how to open, but we now know how to close. That once we have talked about the cross, it's time to say goodbye. So with that being said, thank you again, everybody, for listening. Haley, thank you for being here and sharing your wisdom with us, guidance, your beautiful energy.
I try.
And everybody out there, take care of yourself, and we'll catch you in the next episode. So let's wait for you to say goodbye first, since you said hello first.
Oh,
that's okay. I'll say goodbye first.
We can't completely switch it up.
All right. So bye, Haley.
Bye.
You made it all the way to the end of today's episode, so you must have liked what you heard. If you did, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode, and perhaps leave us a good review. And if you know someone who wants to dig into all things human design with us, make sure you share the Human Design Hive podcast with them. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks for listening.